My team is stressed. Like, I'm talking to my operators a lot. I'm working more than I like to work, and I like to tell people that I work. And I'm having more fun than I've ever had because it makes you feel alive when you're in the trenches building and growing.
This episode is actually a replay of a guest podcast that I was on with my friend Chris Powers. We discuss everything from life to being a good parent to managing wealth to impacting other people. And when this came out on The Fort, which is Chris Powers' podcast, I probably had about 30 or 40 different people reach out to me and say that it was a pretty impactful episode. So I think I'll repost it here. I hope you enjoy it. And again, go check out Chris Powers' podcast, The Fort Podcast with Chris Powers. Thanks for listening.
You built a holding company, and you built basically a corporate environment that basically, you kind of alluded to it at the beginning, can spin things up. And when I looked at the original 4 or 5 hires, it's a lot of content, operations. It's not your typical holdco where you have financial analysts and financial wizards and accountants. How are you thinking about Homebase, like the top of the flywheel, and how have you built that out?
So yeah, if I were buying companies, if I were taking bank debt, if I was taking a real estate private equity approach to small business, then I would need a totally different team, period. I would need chief revenue officer and a CFO and all these different things. I'm putting 50 grand in a bank account, and that's my venture capital money. I'm an angel investor in my own stuff. So we have an idea, boom, I put 50 grand in a brand new bank account on an online bank. It's there the next day. I can use it. I can buy the domain. I can spin up to hosting. And another thing that people need to understand, I've only been at this for 7 months, and it's chaos. It's chaos. Everybody thinks, oh, Nick's got it figured out. Nick is Michael Girdley. Nick is going to make billions of dollars. No, my team is stressed. I'm talking to my operators a lot. I'm working more than I like to work, and I like to tell people that I work. And I'm having more fun than I've ever had because it makes you feel alive when you're in the trenches building and growing, and you're starting to make bets and see leads. I made a tweet about my brother's lawn care company because he was the first guinea pig for bold SEO. We got in and we built links. We just build links for SEO. SEO works where Google, if you got a bunch of links to your website, it makes you rank higher. We sourced 20 links for my brother's lawn care company over 2.5 months, and he went from 4th or 5th on the Google map back to 1st, and his phone started ringing off the hook. And I'm like, holy cow. I called him up. He's like, yeah, I got way too many leads. I need to make 2 hires. I'm quoting 2 jobs right now. I'm like, what happened? He goes, I have no idea, Nick. My phone just started ringing. I'm like, you know that I bought you, I paid Bold SEO. I paid out of my pocket, Bold SEO, and you're going to pay me back, of course. I bought SEO services from one of my companies. And he goes, oh my gosh, well, keep doing it. Thanks. And so I tweeted about that. I was like, Bold SEO is, a new SEO company where they source links. My brother was a client, and his business exploded. He moved to the front of Google. 140 leads came in over the next 24 hours. Our sales guy got 81 calls booked, and that company now has 80 grand a month of monthly recurring revenue, and it's 3 months old. You don't think that company's in chaos right now? Everybody's stressed
chaos
out.
From 2.
Yeah, it's every company has one of 2 problems. You need customers, you don't have enough customers, or you need employees and processes because you don't have enough employees and processes. I'm in a blessed situation with business where I have a competitive advantage at everything I'm doing. I can hire talent through Shepherd. I can use my other services, my other business services to spin things up. My team is good, and I have the power to flip on a faucet of customers instantly. So I made that tweet about Andrew's company, and boom, boldseo.com had 100 plus leads and 80 calls. And it's been chaos ever since. It's been the most fun ever because we're booking business. Our sales guy's working around the clock because he's about to make 100 grand this month because he's crushing it. And we're like, oh, this is fun.
That's freaking okay. But who are your 5 hires? Who are the 5? Or you have 5 or 6 people. You have video.
Yeah. So I have a head of content. He has 2 video editors and a copywriter that work just directly for him. One for my shorts, one for my YouTube and podcasts. He also works on all these webinars that we're doing for RE CostSeg to drive business and revenue. So that's my personal branding team too. They work on my personal branding as well. Then on the other side, I have ops, which is basically just Simon right now. He's a freaking badass. And he's hiring my bookkeeper. He's recruiting 5 positions. We're just building the team very, very quick at some of these companies.
And you pay for all those people with the revenue that you bring in from the companies that you own in the holdco.
Yeah. So, and I'm also spending a lot of money to grow my email list and on this content. So yeah, my monthly burn right now is $100,000 a month on my holding company. I'm paying for a lot of email referrals at $2 each. I'm spending $50,000 a month for email referrals. Like say you have a newsletter, Chris, and you say, hey, one click right here, sign up for Nick's newsletter. It tracks it and I pay you $2 per subscriber. So I'm spending to buy 25,000 email subs a month that are all related to business. They're coming from other content creators that are around business. Now, that is all overhead. Yeah. So I'm bringing in 150 to 250 grand a month. I'm sending out 100 grand a month. Plus I'm funding checking accounts with 50 grand each as we about to start a sales company with Jeremiah Lancaster. Like I'm having a freaking blast, man. I mean, I feel like everybody thinks, oh, Nick's building these companies. We'll see what happens. I honestly believe that 5 of these companies will be $50 million businesses in the next 10 years. I'm seeing it happen. Like I know enough to know that when a company's 3 months old and it gets 150 leads in one day, I just know how that resonates with people and I know how powerful it is. So it's going to be freaking fun, man. It's going to be fun. I'm having a blast.
All right. Well, we do a couple of these a year, so we don't have to check in on the next time. But you always tend to think out, if in 10 years things have gone right, what does it all look like?
I think 5 years is kind of how long it's going to take for this round of businesses to mature. I think this foundational, like I have a team of agencies and companies that can accelerate other businesses. I want all of these companies doing 5 to 10 million of revenue, all of them at least doing 1 to 2 million of EBITDA. All 10 of these businesses, I don't think any of them will fail, honestly. The hardest one, RecruitJet, it's tough recruiting business right now. We did a $46,000 placement on Friday of last week with one operator and one thing. So like they're all just kind of trudging along, not without their stress, obviously. But yeah, 5 years from now, $1 million a month coming into the holdco in profit, at least $1 million a month, boom, coming into the holdco. The brokerage is spending, seeing deals, and I am putting my own capital, a lot of my own capital into self-storage and additional ownership stakes in small businesses. And I'm using my distribution, which 5 years from now will be, who knows if we'll be Tim Ferriss, Ryan Holiday, James Clear level, definitely not Grant Cardone. How big will the reach be? How big will the reach be? Because I know that's the flywheel, right? The flywheel going around is, hey, Nick builds these businesses, funnels the money back into his personal brand and his books. The books funnel into the businesses, and it just keeps going around. It keeps going around. So more customers into the ecosystem, more people are part of these companies. Andrew Wilkinson at Tiny, good friend of mine. Everybody forgets that Tiny, a company that's valued at $800 million plus publicly traded right now that Andrew owns with a partner, several investors now because he went public. Everybody forgets that the cornerstone of that company, over half of its value, is an agency that Andrew started 11 years ago, a design agency called MetaLab. People forget that. He started it 11 years ago. Everybody thinks about Tiny that they're going to go buy great businesses like AeroPress, and they do. They're buying amazing companies and they're growing it. He started MetaLab, and that is the powerhouse of his portfolio. That's my plan as well. I mean, I want some of these companies to rise to the top. And 3 years from now, I'll have operators in all these businesses. They will have made a bunch of hires. And the beautiful thing is we're making hires at all these companies and seeing what these employees have, seeing who's got it. We have a guy named Andres who works at our storage company. The kid is insanely talented. We got him in at $1,500 a month. He was a Twitter hire. He lives in Colombia, and he will run one of my companies someday. Like he is that talented. My goal is to build a Rolodex of people who know how to do that I can trust to run companies. So then I can have them delegate themselves out of a job, hire a CEO in one of these businesses, and then Andres is free or Simon's free or Colin's free. And I can go buy a business, install that management team and take it from $50 to $100 million and either sell it, hold it, whatever. That's my goal. That's the vision. So the brokerage and special projects with my dad sits on top. My holding company and my management team that gives the fuel and the marketing to all these other companies sits below that. And then we have all the individual entities that I want to become healthy, mature businesses over time. And it will take time.
Big news, guys. I created a free PDF that details my method on how I analyze a self-storage facility and figure out what it's worth. Give me a pen, the back of a napkin, and a couple metrics, and I can figure out about what the property is going to be worth to me. If you want to download this PDF, click in the show notes, the first link, and you can give me your email address and you get a email right away with a 4-page PDF that outlines exactly how I think about underwriting or giving my initial analysis on a self-storage facility. Again, click the link in the show notes and you're going to get that document for free. Before you go, we have a new sponsor of the show, recostseg.com. And if you bought a piece of real estate, you need to get a cost segregation study done. It's what allows you to get all that sweet, sweet bonus depreciation, and it's how real estate investors like me and many others pay almost nothing in taxes on an annual basis. You can cost seg a single family rental, a short-term rental, or a large commercial property. recostseg.com is affordable and aggressive and super fast to turn them around. They've done 10 plus cost segs for me this year. They're going to do many more for me. Visit recostseg.com to learn more.